Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin. My name is Emily Carter, and I used to believe I had my life figured out. I'm 29 years old, married to Jake, and we lived in a peaceful little town in Tennessee. Jake is a big guy with a deep laugh and a job as a truck driver. We met when I was 20, working at a diner while studying for nursing school. He'd stop by every morning, order pancakes and coffee, and leave me a big tip along with a goofy grin. 3 years later, we got married, bought a house with a red door, planted flowers in the yard, and dreamed about starting a family. Life was loud and messy, but it was ours. But Jake's job kept him away a lot. Some days, even weeks, he'd be gone, driving across states, hauling cargo from one city to another. At first, I didn't mind. I had my nursing shifts to keep me busy, made dinner for myself, and waited for his calls. He'd tell me about the mountains, the endless highways, and how we'd take a trip together one day. But those promises started fading. When Jake came home, he was exhausted. He'd grab a beer, sink into the couch, and barely talk. If I asked about his day, he'd just mumble, same old, same old. I started feeling like a stranger in my own home, and that's when I met Ryan. Ryan moved in next door 6 months ago into a small blue house with a creaky porch. He was different from Jake Tall, lean, with deep green eyes and a quiet, thoughtful way about him. He worked from home, doing something with computers. I'd see him outside, fixing up his yard or reading on the porch. One day I was watering my roses when he waved at me over the fence. Hey, neighbor, those flowers look beautiful. I blushed, said thanks, and we started talking. He asked about the neighborhood, my job, little things that made me feel seen. At first, it was innocent. Just small chats over the fence, polite waves when I walked by. But then, Jake left for a long haul job 2 whole weeks, and I got lonely. One evening, I was sitting on my porch, sipping lemonade, when Ryan stepped outside with a glass of his own. Mind if I join you? He asked. I said sure. We sat there under the stars, talking about everything and nothing. He told me he moved here after his father passed away, looking for a fresh start. He loved old movies and spicy food, and his laugh was effortless. The next night, he invited me over for dinner. Jake was still gone, so I figured, what's the harm? Ryan cooked tacos messy, delicious ones with extra salsa. We watched a silly movie about aliens and somehow ended up sitting close on the couch, our shoulders touching. Then he looked at me, his eyes soft. Emily, you're amazing. I don't know how anyone could leave you alone like this. My heart skipped. I should have left. I should have laughed it off, but I didn't. I leaned in and he kissed me. It felt like a spark igniting inside me, his lips warm, his hands gentle. Nothing like Jake's quick kisses before he left for the road. I kissed him back, and soon we were tangled up in each other. We ended up in his bedroom. The world outside disappeared. It felt wrong, but it also felt so good. I went home that night, my stomach in knots. Jake wouldn't be back for days, but I felt like he'd walk in at any moment and catch me. I scrubbed myself raw in the shower, trying to wash Ryan off me. I told myself it was a mistake. It won't happen again. But the next day, Ryan knocked on my door, holding a flower he'd picked from his yard. I couldn't stop thinking about you. And just like that, I let him in again. After that, we started sneaking around. When Jake left, Ryan would come over. If I wasn't home, I was at Ryan's place. We cooked, laughed, made love. It felt normal. I told myself it was okay because Jake didn't care anymore, but deep down, I knew that was a lie. And then we got sloppy. Jake was supposed to be gone until Friday. So Ryan came over Thursday night. We were in the living room, tangled up in each other, when I heard the front door creak. Jake's voice boomed through the house. Emily? You home? I froze. Ryan bolted out the back door as I tried to fix my hair, my breathing ragged. Jake walked in, sweaty from the road. You okay? He asked, narrowing his eyes. You look jumpy. Yeah, I stammered. Just surprised to see you. He nodded, grabbed a beer, and didn't push it, but I could feel it. He knew something was off. The next week, Jake started staying home more. He took shorter trips, said he wanted to spend time with me. It should have made me happy, but it just made things harder. Ryan and I had to be careful. We met in parks or at a diner where nobody would recognize us. Then, one night, everything came crashing down. Jake was home watching TV, and I told him I was going to the store for milk. I was really meeting Ryan at the park. We sat in his car, kissing, talking, losing track of time. I didn't hear Jake's truck pull up until it was too late. Headlights flashed, the door yanked open, Jake's voice furious. "Who the hell are you?" he yelled, dragging Ryan out of the car. "Jake, stop!" I screamed, but he wasn't listening. His eyes locked onto mine, betrayal etched on his face. "This is why you've been acting weird? This guy? The damn neighbor?" Ryan tried to step back, hands raised. Jake looked at me like I had stabbed him. "How long, Emily?" he demanded. "How long have you been lying to me?" I couldn't answer. I couldn't breathe. Jake threw his hands up, stormed off to his truck, and drove away. When I got home, Jake was packing his bag. "I'm done," he said, his voice cold. "I can't do this." I begged him to talk, to stay, but he just shook his head. "You broke us, Emily. You did this." And then he left. A week later, his brother came to get his stuff. Clothes, tools, his old guitar. He doesn't want to talk. That was it. Then came the letter. "I'm filing for divorce. You can have the house. I don't want it." No yelling, no fighting, just goodbye. I lost Jake. I lost Ryan. And I lost myself. Now I sit in this house, alone, haunted by my choices. Because the neighbor who stole my heart didn't keep it. He just left me with nothing. Lessons from Emily's story. Excitement is not the same as love. Running from problems only makes them worse. Trust, once broken, is almost impossible to rebuild. Think before you act, because one mistake can cost you everything. Like, share, and subscribe for more real-life confession stories.